Hello, fellow peasants. Today I'll be talking about 8K and whether or not we need it. All right, guys. So for the last 9 years, basically, 10 years, we've been in the 4K market. Roughly around 2014, 2015 is when 4K really hit the scene, and then the physical media releases picked up after that. But the televisions have been out for a while. Now every TV you go get these days is a 4K television. It's hard to go to the store and find just a 1080p. I mean, you can do it, but the majority of TVs out now are 4K. So, over the last several years, 8K is now out and available. I'd probably say it's been more prevalent in the last 2 to 3 years. They're very expensive televisions. When they first came out a few years ago, they were like the cost of a fucking car. Now it's to where people I work with at work, somebody at my work has an 8K television at her house. So the question is, now that 8K is here, it's coming, what do I project its life will be like? How long will it last? Will it last? In terms of the television sets, I think that it will be similar to 4K in the sense that it will take over the market. Eventually, most of the TVs that you buy will be 8K, similar to how 4K took over 1080p televisions. But I don't think that it's going to go much beyond that. And I don't think it's going to even touch where 4K went in terms of physical media releases and things like that. Now, in terms of streaming, like YouTube videos and some new films will strike out and maybe do some 8K. But you got to think, guys, 4K has been out for a while now. And yes, we have a lot of 4K film releases, right? But your average television show and your average football games and most of what you watch on standard television, whether you watch HGTV, you're watching Jeopardy, whatever the fuck you're watching, you're not watching that in 4K, okay? Most of that is shot in 1080p. It's being upscaled on your 4K television for you, but it's not true 4K. And why is that? Well, is the squeeze really worth the juice, or whatever the saying is? Because 4K is a huge amount of data. You know what I mean? Like, the file sizes are huge for something that most viewers aren't going to really care about or appreciate. So why would they shoot Jeopardy or The Price is Right or House Hunters or think of any other television show in 4K? And so to bring it back to the 8K, it's like, well, if they're not doing that now for 4K, if most of the media we consume now is still 1080p, 10 years into the life cycle of 4K, why would we expect it to be similar to 4K? Or why would we expect 8K to be used more than 4K? And I don't think it will be. And truth be told, most films that we've already got a restoration for in 4K, they were shot on 35 millimeter or they were shot digitally, and they're at their peak that they can be restored at. Now, there are some films like that are shot like 2001: A Space Odyssey and other films that are shot on 70 millimeter. 70 millimeter is basically the equivalent to an 8K scan, kind of like how you can squeeze 4K out of a 35 millimeter. But far more releases were done on 35 millimeter than 70 millimeter. So I just think that physical media has seen its peak, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying like, oh shit, it's all downhill and gone to shit from here. No, it's just we've maxed out almost how good things are going to look, because let's keep it real. It's going to be most films aren't even shot in 4K now, right? They're shot digitally at like 2K. The odds that even in the next 10, 15, 20 years, most studios are going to be filming their films with 8K resolution I just don't think it's going to happen. The file sizes are too huge. The audience just doesn't care enough. I mean, people still buy DVDs. People still sit and watch 720 and 480 DVDs. I mean, the average viewer doesn't care. 1080p is where a lot of people are comfortable with. And I did a video a while back saying what meets my needs to watch something. And that is 1080p. 1080p does meet my needs for viewing something. I don't need 4K. 4K is like icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top. It's nice to look at. It's good to have, but I don't need that level of detail to enjoy what's going on in a film. 1080p is enough to get the message across. It's enough to get you engaged in what's going on. Your eyes aren't strained. It doesn't look like a waxy, like when I watch a DVD now, especially if I watch a DVD on my 4K TV, I know it's upscaled, but still, it just has a smooth pastel painting like look to it. I don't know how to describe it really. It just looks odd. So I think the television sets are going to move towards 8K. And the fucked up thing is, like, I'd probably say in the next 5 to 6 years, 8K will be way more accessible and mainstream than it is now. And what's fucked up is you're going to be watching 1080p content on an 8K television, because the majority of content creators are not going to be filming in 8K. It's expensive. It takes up a lot of file size, in the same way that 4K does. And so we're just going to keep upscaling older formats onto these newer, screens. And, I think 4K is like where the rubber meets the road. I think it's where physical media basically doesn't stop, but I mean, like, we're not going to get another slew of 8K. We're not going to get a Die Hard 8K. We're not going to get Titanic 8K. We're not going to get, because there's just no need in it. I mean, people already are hesitant to buy Blu-rays now and 4Ks. Like, they're not going to go back and remaster something that, first of all, the information's not there. You can't go and take more information out than what was originally there. But yeah, so do we need 4K? I mean, do we need 8K? No, we don't need 8K. It's not necessary. Sure, it might look fucking fantastic if something was originally shot on 70 millimeter and it's restored. It might look fantastic if someone actually shot something in 8K and you're watching it on a disc, on an 8K player, on an 8K television, I'm sure that looks fantastic. But let's keep it real. The majority of people stream things. So even if you shot it on 8K and you slap it on YouTube, and most people stream, so you put your movie on streaming, it's not going to look as good as it does if you're just playing it on physical media. So what's the point? What's the point in playing a watered down version of that format? It's kind of like when people tell me, yeah, I have a 4K TV and I like to buy all my movies digitally, and you know, I can't wait for the new 4K to come out for whatever movie so I can buy that digitally. Well, you're not watching it in 4K then. I mean, you're watching it like, you're close to it, but you're not really there. I mean, there's all kinds of artifacts. I mean, I could do a whole other video on that, but you know, what's the point of moving all the way to 8K when the majority of people are going to be watching it? Like, I don't see the point of the 8K televisions even becoming mainstream, because the majority of the content is going to be 1080p still. You know what I mean? That they're going to be watching on it. So I think that's the future of it. I think they're coming. They're going to push the resolution because that's going to keep selling TVs. Anytime a new technology is out, they'll push it. So the TV screen resolutions can just keep going and going and going and going and going. But the content that's created that you can use to match the resolution on those TV screens is just not going to, it's just not going to match up to it. So you're just going to keep upscaling previous formats onto nice, sexier television screens for the next however so many years. But that's it, guys. That's my thoughts. I think 8K, I don't think we need it. I don't think it has much of a future in the sense that we're going to be watching a lot of 8K content on 8K televisions. We're going to be watching primarily 1080p content and some 4K content on 8K TVs. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. Do you think that 8K is going to be properly used? Do you think content makers are going to film in 8K and like movies, television shows, and that they're going to release 8K disc releases? And like, do you think it has a decent future ahead of itself? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, guys. Peace out, peasants. I'm going to go in here and get my pizza now. Have a good one. Bye-bye.